trying to either make it look like that person is setting somebody up or actually is setting me up, is only setting you up or that person up for failure. And that would be point blank, period. Somebody's like, oh, I was trying to look out for you. Like, baby, no. No. Like, even when they said the whole CM thing, I'm like, okay, why does somebody keep bringing it up? Because y'all know good way in the world it wasn't that, or I wasn't thinking it was that. Even if it was, I wasn't thinking it was that. And then the outcomes were completely different. Like, it wasn't. And I'm like, look at my body, look at my skin, look at my face, look at my this, look at my. You're just like, which I do need to make sure I brush more. I just thought about that recently. I've just been like totally neglecting brushing. Well, not totally neglecting brushing, but I need to brush more. But it's a lot of different stuff. And for some reason, people letting somebody almost get out of hand, start doing this, start doing that. It's like you're straight up being but then it's not really the target. It would have to be New York. Like, it would have to be something that went on either here or in the government, not the fizzle, not like, oh, if ET was even here doing stuff to help people out, you can't even blame it on ET right now. I was like, and if you just see that somebody was basically I was like, you have to read that. You have to read that if whatchamacallit was somebody else was in turn. But I don't even think that though. Somebody said, could it be that which probably taking advantage? If they were taking advantage of him, that they're taking advantage. Like, I don't even see that, because why would you waste your time? Maybe pointing out or calling out, I could see that. But not taking advantage. I see something being taken advantage of and then calling out, or either got my example like, hold on, that's right. Let's call out. Be like, and start calling out people on this just because you were doing somebody dirty. Or people dirty. But we're not going to go into every single faction or faucet, because that's what starts messing everything up. Because then everybody wants to prove their self, or okay, white folks, or okay, black folks. Okay, we're talking about cores before we move on to something else. Because like all of a sudden somebody brought up, and people brought up what, and they brought up trying to take. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I was like pretty sure if that was the case, I guess they would have been done a whole alone. I don't think nothing would sit around being able to and just sit around taking nah. I'm like, no. I don't think that would be the case, because why would you? I don't care how many people there are in the world. If you wanted to get people out the picture, it would be fairly easy. I'm like, COVID, that's like something I believe not. Like something somebody messed with and naturally fucked some shit. Because if you wanted to go to the extreme, my nigga, you could easily go to the extreme. That's why like pharmaceutical companies have like this code of ethics that they have to appear, these guidelines that they have, these international, like lead monitored. Like we want to come in your and see what you're doing type. Because if you fuck up, it could be like half population gone like that. You know what I mean? Like COVID. Imagine a mutated version of COVID that somebody starts playing with in a lab and lets out. Like I said, imagine they mixed rabies. Well, anthrax happened at first, and then it was something else, something like. Imagine them mixing all of that, like West Nile with COVID, with anthrax, with rabies, and just did a super combination. That was like that had the ability not just to latch on to any and every type of protein, proteins, and da 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 whatever. Like it's just a lot. It's a lot, and I don't like calling stuff. I don't like calling this part out only because of the only because well I do in a way because it just shows that you have the capability to have done something and you did it fairly easily. You know what I mean? Like if something could fruit, what's to say in a lab you can't fruit? I'm like, oh okay, y'all just want to play. Mix that. We'll mix that. Now go on and test that. You go over there and test something, and people just. So it's like something trying to say, oh, we trying to do. Nah, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't. I don't think that would be the real McCoy of the situation because you could have had the capability a long time ago before the Earth even gets to a standpoint to where you would have to think about something as serious as overpopulation or pollution. Why wouldn't you stop it earlier? You see what I'm saying? Like you couldn't sit up there and say, "Oh yeah, they secretly trying to." They're like, no, like, cause why would you secret? Like, well, not even why would you secretly, but why would you even? Why would you let it? You could have like easily bolstered wars. I mean, like some real serious, like Russian meddling and Chinese espionage, and they trying to buy up property, and like you already got them buying up property. You got Spanish down south, like coming in and flooding America. Like you got so many things that, so many intricate components to causing civil unrest that are kind of mixing right now. You got job market, whereas like they said, the Spanish are taking a lot of jobs and growing at an exponential rate to where they were supposed to projectedly overtake Caucasians. Like the rate that they're going, I think, what did they say? They're going to be like the number one employee after a while. It's kind of like you got all these different components kind of moving and that, and it could create an unstable situation. That's why I'm like, there comes a sense of responsibility that is key and vital to being like ownership. Look, yes, this happened. We're paying for it. You're already in debt. That's probably about a 400 million for a trillion thing. Like you're already in debt. It's kind of like, do you try to cover something up or do you atone? And you say, hey, this is what happened. It shouldn't have happened. We've actually learned a lot from it. We um, we need to fix it and atone so it won't happen. We're studying. We got a team. We're working towards making sure this never ever happens on this scale ever again. We're trying to be more transparent, or even we found this and that, and now we're trying to make sure that they're um, taken in a good light, and try to keep take off the veil of um, so much secrecy. You know what I mean? Because it can create a lot of bad things, and that's why I was like the whole being honest. And that's why I was like the thing even about myself and having put in a situation where I have to be. It's kind of like it's good too, and it could have its good applications, but trying to sweep it, cover it, not continue it, or do something the wrong way is only going to create issues, and I do sense that. Because if you don't address it, somebody else is learning it. So you don't punish this, somebody else learns this, they'll start using it. And it's going to make stuff, it's going to make it like a trigger, hair trigger. Like you have another skill set you could be teaching. So where people actually that don't have jobs could still have jobs and sit around, actually, and possibly sit around monitoring stuff, or sit around and doing this, sit around and doing that. But you have to have a level of honesty. Like you have to have respect and compassion. You could not have those components, and you have to run a tight ship. Like you have to want to be like, okay, look, you coming in my arena, it's got to whoop, 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 whoop. And if you're not, and it's not clicking, you gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, and in that arena too, even if you go with different levels, at one level, look, we don't have to run you through a 6 month of something. Like, you can't. You can't leave this and we just, it didn't work out. No. We need to make sure you don't whoop de whoop and lie. You have to sign your name on a dotted line. There you go. Appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's the money. Oh, you don't take the money. But you can't be active on it. Or you can't want to get here, want to get that. Kind of like when you sign up to be a police officer, like they want you to sign on a dotted line to make money. You take an oath, you're supposed to uphold it. And when you stop upholding it, you start, and not putting nothing back on the right, this is just a general statement, is you have to uphold. And I mean, granted, there are some times that, like say mine for instance, if they come back and say, well, why didn't you? You'd have to say, we did it because we knew. We did it because there was something going on. We did, and there's still something going on. And we're on it now. And we need you, Joseph. We have enough, you should, to be like, let's pull. Let's sit y'all. And then kind of start putting stuff here and putting stuff there, putting stuff, and then be like, okay, we're done. And then possibly be like, oh well, we want to, like somebody's trying to make it seem like they're trying to treat me like, baby, if you take me and you put me back in my mother's house, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be yes ma'am, washing dishes when I leave. All the other stuff is just gonna flow back. But when you got me in a situation where I'm not as comfortable and not like it's still gonna be kind of itchy. I gotta try to go here to get a kind of wise camera because the wise camera ain't really working. So I don't really clean up like I wanted to do. Like I got this bag right here because I'm thinking like, what I gotta put all this stuff in. Well, actually, all that stuff probably gonna go in there. So I'm like, yay. But then I'm like, this is probably what I need to start doing. But I'm like, it comes to a point where you have to assist. And it's almost like a warning. This is a warning. And it's probably because somebody's really pulled a string to something like, look, if you did wrong, you did wrong. Versus looking like you should probably talk to somebody and try to figure out the right person to talk to. Because if you don't, it's almost like I'm sure somebody knows enough. Because what's going to end up happening is, you know what I mean? Like, whereas you probably could have, somebody could, that's why I kept saying, where somebody probably could have worked with, you're going to keep, and it's going to be to the point where you can't. And you're going to be, certain people are going to start getting stuck. And it's just not going to be good for them. But it's like, you gotta, wow. I'll get put that on. Pretty sure. Um, so it's like you have to, you have to be honest. Like, say for instance, I look at this bag and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to probably go, right? Let's say somebody say, well, we're not going to move into these right. At some point, you come in and say, yo, recognize we need to try to get you. Like I heard just a while ago about the parking thing, or we got to park it out. Yeah, that's yours. We just need you to come somewhere else. You need to target inside the city. Like, where is it over there at the Target? Whatever that's over here, we're going to sit you over here. You know what I mean? If you need something, I think you right across the street. All thing we gotta do is you from here, you from there, you from here, you from there, you from here. Like, you gotta order something, they come today, Home Depot right there, Target right there, and Bazaar. Versus you right here, and oh, it's just like, somebody keep, I don't know, it's like, oh, da, 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 da. Like, baby, I really ain't, that's not there to do. I'm like, with all of these, what you call it, you can just, like I said, and that's why I kept saying too, you can just write stuff down, baby. And if they putting everything on, true, but you'd have to stop talking amongst yourselves. That's the biggest problem, because as long as you talk amongst yourselves, it's going to keep doing that. And it's going to keep. Yeah, the whatchamacallit sitting there. I'm like, yeah. I hear some all. I hear whispers. I hear whispers. That's the fucking ish. Like, why are y'all sitting there? Still, and I can still. I wake up in the morning and I hear you. I'm like, and still at the end of the day, I said both hands aren't going to be completely clean, which is standard. Just one's going to be a little dirtier than the other. We had to do X, Y, and Z because y'all did such and such, and you leave it at that. But you have to finalize. You don't finalize something if you're just trying to cover it up and say, "Oh, we're going to give you this, and we're going to blah, blah, blah." You need to actually move on it. You need to stop the what if game. Somebody kept saying the what if game. The what if game is just going to keep going and not be good. And if you actually do have this whole extra thing going on, it's going to be like, what if they do? What if something got patient? What if you fuck up? What if da da da? What if they're just like, you know what? What the? Because at the end of the day, I'm like, you have to secure, especially with the whole launches of the rockets and this, you have something going on with the Earth, which I think people get really confused. I was like, I don't know if the birds are not. Is it the same amount of birds and stuff? Because I'm just like, it seems like something else is going on. I already said that about the whole launches a while ago. It's something going on. You have to stop certain stuff. That you have to start certain stuff. But I don't know, like it's like you're talking about it now. I mean, everything's gonna be, but I'm like, I don't know. I just feel why. And it's like, oh, you're talking about the whole mind reading thing. Okay, yay, good. Pay up then. Like, that's stupid. You've already shown. Why are you not? Don't dare say, oh, it's not because of that. Like, oh, it's because you're supposed to be, okay, well, go ahead and start those wheels in motion. Or we're still trying to figure out, okay, hon, try doing something I asked, which is a conversation with Joseph Antoine King. Like, even when I was in the whatchamacallit today, I thought about it. It felt like somebody else was in our conversation, which I'm like, okay. And it seemed a little like that. So I'm like, okay, so I even told them in that conversation. So when are y'all gonna when, when, when are you gonna? I'm like, you have to. And now, like, who's talking to themselves? Are they talking to themselves or talking to somebody else? Like, why don't? And like, if I'm talking, I can't be at this point. If people are mimicking stuff, maybe you're putting out certain things. You're going to want to know. Somebody has to have one to know. I sent a freaking thing to the Times. So I'm just like, and I even warned about that. I said, okay, sending something to the Times. And you should probably act on something before I do what? Before they start. You give that to a piranha or a shark, they gonna bite. I'm like, hold on. That's gonna be the story of the century. Like, I do notice this. Why does that happen? Why are people here? Why do people walk? And it's like, oh, what if that whole thing was to be like, see? It's just like, why y'all still sitting up here twirling your thumb and playing around and showing somebody, hey, so all I guess is you say, hold on, somebody up here give me examples of like, yeah. Remember the person who's been talking to us. You're giving an example of somebody sitting up there talking to us. And seriously talking to us. This long ponytail below. I'm like, you're giving a presentation to Mr. and Mrs. Ponytail. So about the whole what was it, the prostitute thing? And I was like, and I could tell that they got what was being said. I was like, whoa. Because you stop talking, you da-da-da, and then all of a sudden you start. And I'm like, that's not the only one. So I'm just like, uh-oh. I'm just like, and somebody just keeps saying, and I'm like, okay, you need to go talk to Joseph Antoine King. Kind of the way that you were talking to Joseph Antoine King in the CCRB and explaining something. You because I'm like, I'm like, it's because what the are you? We're in Stop and Shop. And I was like, wow, Stop and Shop. I was like, dang. And of course, Target. Target is already. And I'm like, and then I was out. I had to walk. I was like, oh, we not doing this out here. I was like, about face. I started walking. I was like, oh, hey. I said, really? I hit that and bust that right so quick, like, we are not going to do this right now. No, sorry. You know what I mean? Just like Nicki Minaj, that hair triggered. So I was like, I'm trying to have a good day today. Don't pull it. If I would have kept on straight and kept on, and I would have an attitude by the time I left there, it just would have all been. Then I go to and then somebody just still sitting here like, I'm just like, okay. Somebody's like, probably on the counter like, probably like, let me go ahead and get up here and see about something because y'all talking about rambling today. I'm on the train and I'm like, that's why I had to play that. As soon as I played that, I was like, oh. Somebody stop that. And then when the kids got on the train, I was like, oh. But these were appropriate age. Like these seem like kids that can handle themselves. Like that's not gonna follow me around or feel like they need to manage or something. They got on there. They said their piece. I got on. So I'm like, yeah. So now it's just like somebody moving that king, that position, like and now you get walked away from the game, like I'm gonna come back in there and wait for the sandwich out. And yeah, I was at whatchamacallit, where is it? I'm just somebody. Oh, and then I'm just like, hmm. So now it's gonna be like, I'm still saying, like, nobody said yesterday. I didn't hear it. You know, I must have seen it. They said, come on, nothing. So I would take that as my, yeah, they don't, God know. So I'm like, oh no, you know. Because I ain't going through all that just to be going back to, like, if somebody else feeling the same way, they gonna be like, I didn't go through all this to just be. Like, you can literally, oh, we just trying to make, you gotta make sure what? You can literally say, okay, let's move you, move you, move you, and not talking about move my room. Because you got somebody tomorrow, you gonna move your room. Like, you think like that's the thing. I heard that. This won't go under private.